Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Calling all the fighters, calling on survivors. Are you up all nighters? We can take it higher. Let's do this. Can you feel the fire running through your veins? Now you're burning brighter, don't look away. Shout out to the legends, rising from the wreckage. Count down the seconds, it's out your engines. Let's do this. Got a long way to go. I know we've got a long road home. I know we've got a long way to go. Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Let's do this. Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Let's do this. Oh, you know we're gonna do this.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ghostfire Media's coverage of the North-South Racing League. Tonight we have the Matt Dula Memorial 117 at Nashville Fairgrounds. There's nothing wrong with Matt Dula, they just miss him.
Yeah, I had to like start Googling this out. I was like, what happened to Matt Dula? And I was like, oh, okay, I gotcha. It's you know, they missed something and they want to pick on him. So if they name a race after him, maybe he'll come back.
Well, he is certainly missed out there on track. We have 22 racers tonight. He would make 23. And you know what? The more people out there, the better.
Especially at this track.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks that it's an old school short track. Banking's high, it's bumpy, but again, we say it nearly every week, perfect for these cars. They'll be able to go side by side if they want to. It's going to be much like last week. The exit out of 4 is going to be a bit treacherous. Actually, no, it's more 2 here, but it's the same deal. There's a hump coming if you're on that low line from that dugout banking. And
hump, that's just a gigantic bumps.
Hey, you say tomato, I say tomato.
But no, these cars going to be wicked here. I think they're going to be fantastic for them. The banking here is great. I mean, I think if you want to be brave, learn the top side. At least one. I think it's 3 and 4 you can do top side. I think 1 and 2's got a, from my memory, it's got a huge bump up there too. You don't want to kind of run up there. And
the one thing I will say is this is a track that inevitably Adam kills me. Like he's better here than I am by a long shot. I don't do.
Which says a lot because I don't like short tracks, and that says a lot.
But we do have quite a few laps here. For my calculations, we're going to have 1 stop. They're going to be having to come in around, I'm saying at the tail end of it, 90 laps. And we've got 117. So this actually is the 5th trip that these guys have made here. Dante Curtis has the track record, and it was 2 seasons ago. Dante Curtis starting at the back. Jordan Madron is starting from the rear due to the incident limit. And This was a stat that I chose to push out of my mind, but they average 8 cautions here.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, hopefully they can beat the average on a good time. Make it like 5 cautions, 3 cautions, 2
well, the
cautions.
fewest that they had was 4, so maybe they can beat their own record and drop that average down significantly. Especially considering the one thing that we do have to look at is Dante Curtis wins last week, has a 12-point lead over Mike Alexander. Ryan Johnson's back 36 points. Bryan Hacker is running in 4th. Will Eastman in 5th. But Dante Curtis coming from the back of the field tonight, you know what, should have a reasonable chance to get through, because this is a track that will promote some passing, given the high banking, and you could probably fit 6 of these cars across the width of this track.
So right now the times are uber competitive right now on this track. The top like 15 are within a tenth of each other right now.
Yeah.
That's how quick these guys are at this track. That's uber insane. So these guys are all running almost the same speed. It's gonna be who can save those Hoosiers and go for the long run.
And we've seen quite a few races come down to that exactly over the past few weeks. It really comes down to, did everyone come tonight to be ready for that long run, or are we going to be seeing these sheet metal pieces all over the track tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. These guys just have to worry about coming off a 2 here. That's the more treacherous part of it. The bump really upsets the car, and then you want to get past the bump and accelerate, and can come around on you coming out in the back straightaway. You might see the guy in front of you bobble, and you just want to hit the throttle to try to maximize it, and the rear end can come around very quickly here. So these guys are going to have to worry about it, especially on older tires.
Well, and as we are hitting the tail end of practice, and of course our current fastest man on track, Bryan Hacker, decides to go into the pits. So let's find somebody. There we go. Dustin Shepard running into the wall. I am just striking out trying to find
Don't worry,
somebody.
everybody's wrecking. It's the last like 15 seconds. That's what everybody's trying to do.
Yeah, we found someone that's doing it. As Rodney Huntoon is actually out there and trying to get around somebody that just came off, and you can actually see right as we come here to the finish line, these guys, again, there is, if you hit it straight on, you would end up airborne coming out of both turns. So it should be an interesting race tonight. Hopefully we don't have too much caution.
Well, here's a random fact about a different track, a little bit further, just a few miles away from this place in Nashville. You go down to Charlotte Motor Speedway and go down to the Roval. You go in a heartburn turn at like 197 miles an hour. It'll shoot your car back like a rubber band and fly back towards the start-finish line and disqualify you. I found that out last night. So it's a fun fact about destroying your cars on fun like this league does here during every warm-up.
Technically, yes, you did go backwards on track, and that is frowned upon in iRacing.
Yes, it disqualifies you immediately.
All right, on the first time to be put up on the board is Adam Boltmere. That is going to put him, he has a 20.16 on his first lap. Dustin Shepard comes in to take over at a 20.13. And let's go ahead and join Dante Curtis, as everybody else has already set their laps. He's hugging that yellow line, which is definitely the best way around this track. And we catch him right as he crosses the line to take provisional pole with a 20.09. And everybody else is hovering right around that 0.13s, and Apparently, a lot of these guys were getting those fast laps and keeping it competitive over the course of a long run, but there is no way around the fact that everybody's going out rather early tonight. And the fastest man in practice is Bryan Hacker. We'll see what he has on his first hot lap. And he's another one. He's looking a little loose there through the middle of the corner. Doesn't quite get a fantastic exit, and he's already abandoned that lap, setting up for a fast one on his second. To where, yeah, if you run that high line, you may not have the fastest way around the track, but you carry so much speed through these really, for a half-mile track, a long straight.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to do the best, like these cars we've said all the time. It's all about keeping up that momentum, and these got a pretty decently banked track here for these guys to be able to pick up the momentum here and carry it down to these straightaways. I mean, that's like you said, it's pretty decent of a straightaway for these street stocks to have room to maneuver, a little bit of a draft in play whenever we do get back racing.
And we got to watch as Bryan Hacker bails on the first lap, sets up for a fast one on his second, and it was fast enough to get him up on provisional pole, which bumps Dante Curtis back to second, but that was more for bragging rights for him, given he gets the end of the line for winning last week. And the only man on track right now is Rodney Huntoon, just looking to set his first fast one, and he's looking rather tidy, floats up a little bit through 3 and 4, but that still should be a decent lap given that he didn't quite hit the line like you really should try to, as little slide out of 2 as he only is in 12th at this point. Looking to see if he can improve. Still going a little bit higher to where that just may be where he's comfortable and slides it a little bit. Doesn't quite improve over his previous time. And it looks like we got 3 people that just don't feel like setting a time. To where Jeff Bergener, Travis Hoefler, and Jeff Mathis, it's not worried about it. They're expecting that big invert tonight, which I did spin the wheel a little bit earlier, cleared out some of the low ones. Hopefully, it's still going to like me.
It's just, it likes you. It likes you to choose the small numbers.
You know, I don't appreciate that, but it's unfortunately true. I think I've got one big one so far.
Yeah, and no one's practice spinning, but we'll see what ends up here. That's what a lot of these people are hoping for. They want a big number. I know it. Everybody's out there cheering. Let's get a 17. Let's go for a 17.
Well, and since qualifying is over, let's go ahead and see what it's gonna give us tonight for this invert. Just give it a quick spin. I can live with a 13. It's over half the field. So that'll actually shake this up quite a bit. Not quite as big as Dante Curtis would hope for, but still a whole lot bigger than what I've been giving as of recent.
So, we just got done talking about the man that you're highlighting right there, Rodney Huntoon. He's going to be starting outside pole with that qualifying. So he's going to be starting in second.
And honestly, that's fantastic because why not? As these guys are apparently just having a little bit of fun earlier tonight.
So the shenanigans are going to be in turn 3, they stated.
Oh, I was wrong. I was right originally. I like to try to guess where they're going to do it. Get a camera set up real quick. And you know what? Let's do this. Rather than listening to Adam and I drone on for the next 3 minutes, I'm going to throw it to commercial and quickly try to get it set up so we get the best angle on the chaos.
Five Star Realty Group is located on the Emerald Coast in beautiful Panama City, Florida. The Five Star Realty Group has years of experience in residential properties, investment opportunities, vacation rentals, and commercial properties, and looks forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Kelly's Custom Engraving is a locally owned and operated business located in Buellaville, North Carolina, specializing in custom engraving of wood, leather, glass, acrylic, and many more materials. Be sure to like and follow their Facebook page to view all of their amazing products and place your order.
As you all get to see a little bit of how the sausage is made and correcting cameras for iRacing. But yeah, these guys, it should be a relatively entertaining race. We're talking 117 laps of a little bit of chaos. Let's go ahead and move it just a little more, because I know exactly where they're going. And I need to get wires out of the way. Because that little wall right there, if you catch it ever so slightly, yeah, causes chaos. But 117 laps, we stay green. Honestly, we could have a half an hour's worth of a race with one stop. But this track does promote a little bit of harder racing than what we have been seeing, because the aggressive banking really does make it to where you kind of want to go a little bit harder into the corners.
Yeah, I mean, it has deep aggressive banking too. I mean, it makes you want to dip your left side of tires a little bit over that yellow line to get a little bit lower than your opponent, to find that lower line coming out of the corner. And sometimes you bite off more than you can chew trying to choose that very bottom line.
And actually, you can use the fact that that banking doesn't quite continue below that yellow line. You can actually use it to turn the car, get a little bit of extra speed without having to add some steering lock to it. But it needs to be used in moderation. Like, there is no way around the fact that it can cause some problems.
Yeah, man. So we got about a minute and a half before we go green, or before we start doing the lineup here. These guys are already wrecking like crazy in the wrong areas.
I was gonna say that's.
I think they were just having fun messing with their teammates.
Well, and that's of course. No, they. Did it just reset and my timing and scoring isn't doing the right thing?
Looks like it, because they're all sitting up here on pit road now.
Huh. I am very, very confused. Well, let's go ahead, see what our grid looks like for the night. And no, my timing and scoring is being very strange.
All right, while you do that, I'll go ahead and do the actual gridding here. So we got Bryan Hacker, who won the official poll. Dante Curtis came in second. Third would be Will Eastman. Fourth is Mike Alexander. Fifth is Dustin Shepard. Sixth is Philip Martin. Seventh is Justin Rixby. Eighth is Adam Boltemere. Ninth is Gary Eshin. 10th is Ryan Johnson. 11th would be Gage Killam. 12th would be Rodney Huntoon. And 13th would be Josh Nelms. Josh Nelms will be the actual leader when we go green here. They are going to be doing the flipping. So all your names you just heard will be flipped around and inverted. So the person from this point forward will be Adam Gable in 14th. 15th to be Jesse Womack. And 16th to be Jared Apel. 17th to be Robbie Clavey. 18th to be Devin Rogers. 19th to be Dan Janin. 19th to be Jared Mogard. 20th. Oh, that was 20th. 21st will be Travis Hoefler. 22nd is Jeff Bergener. And 23rd will be Jeff Mathis.
And get there right as get everything back up and running.
And
To
figure I'd go ahead and call that out.
These guys relatively quickly get themselves, the front at least, cycled into the right locations, but it may take a little bit longer to get everything where they need to be, to where we've got at least one more lap before we get ourselves to green flag racing. And Josh Nelms gets to start on that low line on the inside. Thanks to the banking, there's a reasonable chance that these guys, the best place is going to be the outside on this initial start, because the leader won't be able to get the jump since everybody goes on the green, but the lights on the pace truck are off and we are ready to get ourselves racing for 117 laps in I can't even bring myself to say it because we've already had one person say that they were worried. But I do believe the pace truck is coming back.
It is. Or no, it's just hanging out.
No, it's
maybe.
back to... No, it's going to be
Okay, yeah.
flying past.
I couldn't tell. I'm looking at the scoring here. I couldn't tell if that extended by one lap happened before or after. So it's always extended, but they've been doing some other things. So they extended it when we first got there.
Just getting everything back where it needs to be, and that's fine. But it looks like the lights are back on the pace truck, and they're probably going to have to extend it one more because the pace truck's peeling off while being in the middle of the pack, so we'll see what happens. These guys are getting bunched up nice and tight. And the flag is flying. We are going racing as Josh Nelms is going to try to hold off the 47 of Rodney Huntoon. He gets a good run out of the corner, but the outside line's going to be able to carry speed. There's Ryan Johnson currently running in third. The 83 slides up ever so slightly and gives them a little bit of a scare, but the faster that these guys can get themselves single file, the better, because now that low line is starting to catch up as we stay side by side pretty much through the entirety of the pack.
It's aggressive banking. He's doing a fantastic job letting this outside work. You got Rodney Huntoon. I mean, he pulled ahead right there coming off the turn 4. So let's see if he can actually pull through here. They're giving each other lots of room. Both lines are. I don't really see anybody squeezing anybody down. These guys are running fairly nice laps here, but we're at lap 3, so I mean real early. A lot of people probably saying the same thing. We got a long ways to go as Rodney Huntoon finally clears himself, takes over that pole position. Now Ryan Johnson's trying to do the same thing. He does not want to let Josh Nelms slide out of the way up. He wants to run the outside line and take over a second spot.
And right now Gage Killam is right there on the bumper trying to use that slipstream down these long straights. Also push the 38 a little bit through and maybe get himself up, as it looks like Ryan Johnson is going to be able to get himself up into second. And I'm somewhat amazed.
Ooh, 3 wide.
3 wide going into turn 1. These guys, Gary Eschen has a nice aggressive run. Will he be able to get the launch and get himself in front of Josh Nelms? But Josh Nelms gets that outside line, and that is probably going to be where he wants to be going through this, because we've already seen the 2 people in front of him made that outside line work. It's just a matter of, did you practice it, and are you going to be able to continue to be fast?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest issue right now. some people can make the outside line work, some people can't. It's Josh Nelms nails the wall coming off of 4.
It's just a little bit of paint loss. And the wall's white there anyway. His car's, it won't give it too much of a damage. But Gary Eschen gets past, as it looks like Josh Nelms just struggling a little bit more on that outside line, as we have a challenge for the lead. Ryan Johnson throws it down low on the 47. It looks like he's going to try to do the crossover going into turn 3, but can't quite position the car in the right place. And Ryan Johnson now leading this race.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson pulled a great move there. I think Rodney knew that Ryan Johnson was coming and beating down on his door, and he just gave the lane and dropped it right back down so he wouldn't lose any time whatsoever. Smart move by him. Gary Ashton, though, is trying to come close the door while they're stacked up 2 by 2 behind them through basically the whole entire field. I think at the very back there might be some single file, but the rest of the pack is 2 by 2, and it's fantastic racing right now.
And they're keeping it clean. A few people are slapping the wall on exit, but yeah, these cars can survive as Josh Nelms gets a little out of sorts coming out of the turn, but still holding on, still doing a fantastic job. He's not dropping quickly and making these guys fight on that low line. Even though this track is probably a little bit on the cool side, the tires are not going to get too heated up. But still, it's not good to have to hug that yellow line for longer than you need to, as Justin Rigsby is the next one to make it clear. But Rodney Huntoon and Ryan Johnson have opened up, well, and Gary Eschen, they have opened up over a second gap from all that battling going on behind them. But these guys are side by side in the battle for second place. Gary Eschen looks like he should be clear coming out of turn 2. But Rodney Huntoon, when he runs that high line, he is carrying quite a bit of speed and really catching up with the guys in front of him. It's just a matter of, it's a little bit slower. So if you don't make that move immediately, you start to lose a little bit of speed.
Yeah, I mean, he's running a higher line into the corner and kind of using the apex a little bit later in the corner. He drops down right there and tries to clip the yellow line almost near the exit. So about 3/4 of the way through the corner, that's when he's dropping down and clipping and trying to get a good run off the corner. So I think he sacrifices his entry, runs a little bit high, and we have a yellow flag.
And that looks like that caught quite a few people. Looks like I'm seeing 4, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Let's go from above. As we're watching Jared Mogard right now, it looks he was the first one to catch it. Oh, that was actually way in front, to where that was Adam Gable. Let's go a little bit closer. To where he's down on that low line. It looks like Mike Alexander may have caught Josh Nelms ever so slightly, checked up, and that collected quite a few people. That's Jeff Mogard, Jeff Mathis, Dante Curtis, Adam Gable, all of these guys, Dan Janjanin as well. These guys just got caught up in it, and of course, right now, everybody dives into pit lane because...
Why not?
yeah, get some tires.
These guys want a fresh set of tires, a little bit of more fuel. See where it carries them to it. You know, now all the drivers are thinking through their head, all right, well, we had our first caution. Where is our next pit strategy? What lap do I need to pit for fuel? Where do we need to do it? Are we going to do tires? Like, now everybody's kind of switching up, trying to figure these things out.
And again, if you do a little bit of fuel savings, I would, and throughout the course of this, there's a chance that these guys can make it. I mean, that 91 is looking rough.
I mean, you gotta, we got the trends, so that's what we gotta look at. We need Larry Mack here to show us what the trends are for the race, but we can already know. The last one was 7, and we got an average of 4. So, or was
No,
it?
an
Or
average
no,
of
average
8.
of 7.
An
I'm
average
horrible.
of 8 cautions.
And
4
lowest of
is
4.
the least.
The lowest of 4. So, you gotta look forward to fuel savings when you want to pit next, and knowing that you probably have at least 3 more cautions, maybe up to 6 more cautions after this. So a lot of pace laps, low burning of fuel, but it looks like the pace truck is off. They're about to get ready back.
And Ryan Johnson takes the high line, and that's what I would be doing here, as he can go whenever he wants, and he's stacking up the field,
No,
and they throw the
they
caution.
extended it.
Because I would assume that the lappers didn't quite get themselves back around, because it's a relatively fast pace speed here. And these guys just want to get back to racing, but again, if we can stay green every lap under caution, it's going to help these guys. So, pace truck's back off once again. We're ready to go racing as Ryan Johnson just waiting for that moment that he can go. And he's holding off again because Gary Eschen, he was trying to time it, got up alongside him, but that's going to make it to where Ryan Johnson can go as soon as he drops back, and he does it perfectly. He gets himself away cleanly, and now the front 4 are all side by side. It's not until we get back here into the battle for 5th and 6th that we're side by side, and these guys, Justin Rigsby, just looking to take advantage, get himself around the 47, and he's getting a heck of a push from Jeff Bergener. He's going to be clear. Now it's going to be, will the 21 be able to get himself clear as he looks to get down below the 81 going into turn 1. These guys going at it hard, as now the 47 is going to be battling with Jared Apel in the 51 and Adam Boltmere. These guys all just wanting to get as many positions caught up as they possibly can.
We got Gary Eschen taking over the lead here.
Of course, I'm watching this. So now we'll just take that quick jump back, see what happens. Gary Eschen just gets the better run out of turn 2 and gets the nose down below Ryan Johnson. And Ryan just kind of lets it happen and gives the 89 a little bit of a touch there. That's going to create a little bit of a rough moment later.
Yeah, right now though, Ryan Johnson has been glued to Gary's back bumper. I mean, at some points, his front bumper is almost on his back bumper. Right now, there's about 3 feet separating him, and he closes the gap in the middle of the corner there and drops it down to about a foot in between these guys.
And he's doing everything he can. This front 3 just trying to pull away from Gage Killam. It's a little bit under a half a second, but then they've got 1 second back to Justin Rigsby here, who is getting a monster push from Jeff Bergener. And you know what? Just keep the good racing going, guys.
Yeah, right now these guys are doing a fantastic job. We got Rodney Huntoon still stuck out there on the outside. Other than that, there's maybe 1 or 2. Looks like Robbie Clavey in the back. He's still kind of out there on the outside lane, but most people are kind of going to the single file right now, unless they're trying to make a pass. But other than that, Dante Curtis is working his way up right there. He's underneath Rodney Huntoon, trying to work his way back up from getting that EOL for winning last week.
And he was involved in that wreck. I'm not sure if he just got loose trying to stop and avoid it, because that 03 does not look like it has too much damage, but yeah, he got the tip behind him. His spoiler's looking a little worse for the wear, but yeah, there are worse things. Short tracks aren't known for their need for downforce. But right now at the front, Gage Killam has closed the gap as we actually see Dustin Shepard dropping down low very early, trying to make sure he can't quite get the run. I would say, and he's doing that late apex to get that strong drive out of turn 2. And it's working, but at this point, Gary Eschen now looking like he may be under pressure in a lap or two from Ryan Johnson, because he is right there on the bumper once again, but looking like he is coming down a little bit lower, looking to see if he's able to get that nose on the run out of the corner. And I would actually argue that there's a reasonable chance that Gary is kind of slowing these guys down, because now the gap from 4th to 5th is closing in on a half second rather than the second it was earlier.
Yeah, I mean, the lap times right now for the top 3 are right on par. And then from back there on back, they're about a half a tenth back from everybody else. So, I mean, just looking at them, and I mean, they're going to flip-flop here and there, but these top 3 are trying to pull away. Gage Killam is slowly running on down, and then you have Justin Rigsby and Jeff Bergener right there. I mean, they're all trying to make it through. We got Bryan Hacker trying to come back up. We know he's fast. He grabbed the pole there and got it inverted back to 13, so he's trying to make his way back. So we're starting to see a lot of different movement up through the middle of the pack, moving towards the front.
And that's the thing, is we'll jump back here with Dante Curtis being down below Travis Hoefler. Travis Hoefler's doing a good job fighting around on that midline, not really leaving much room for Dante Curtis, and that's given him the advantage to where he doesn't really gain too much ground.
Let's see here. Dante's doing what he can to get past Travis Hoefler there. He's underneath him. He's doing a fantastic job running that low line. They're giving each other plenty of space off the corners. And Dante's able to finally get by him here and trying to move forward. Rodney Huntoon looking to see if he could follow his path, but the door got shut in his face.
But we see Bryan
Battle
Hacker
for the lead.
and Ryan Johnson making the move, but not quite able to get away. But he's got Dustin Shepard right there on his bumper as he's looking to take advantage at the same time and let these guys just keep battling it out side by side. And it looks like Ryan Johnson may be able to get clear, probably coming out of turn 4, but Gary Eschen carries so much speed out of the corners, taking advantage of that higher line. But Ryan Johnson finally gets the move completely done. Now it's Dustin Shepard trying to make the exact same move. But once you get shuffled to that outside line, it could spell disaster, because there is quite the queue right behind him to take those positions away.
Yeah, there's so many people. You got Dustin Shepard. He's waiting there in the wings, and Gage Killam, I think he's about to get pushed to the back unless he can make that outside work. Oh, he smacks the wall coming off of turn 2 there. Just brushed it enough just to upset his car. And but he's fighting back on the outside. He does not want to give any room to Justin Rigsby. He wants to make that pass work.
And we
Caution.
have caution. Got quite a few good laps in there. Let's see what happens, as I'm sure while we're taking a look at this, just about everybody's going to make their way into the pits. As Dan Janjanin just, goes in a little bit hot. And that was actually a reasonable save from all parties involved. But having to check up in the middle of the corner, that is definitely going to send the car around. And when you give somebody the tip, It's not going to be much different for them.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not. But we're seeing everybody, and I mean everybody move in right now. Grab some fresh set of tires and some good old, I think this is still, they still use Sunoco fuel here. Maybe. We'll go with it.
They don't show anything on the track, but I'm going to assume it's VP Race Fuels. That would be my guess. But we'll watch the battle off of pit lane, as that's a relatively surprising pit lane camera, as the only real shakeup we see is Bryan Hacker actually makes up a few spots. And that puts him into third. Gary Eschen falls back ever so slightly. He was about just over 2 seconds slower than everyone else in pit lane. But yeah, these guys, we're making it relatively quickly through this race. We will probably be going back green with on lap 50. But let's go ahead, take a quick moment and hear from the sponsors of the North-South Racing League.
Track Time Entertainment is located in Texas and builds custom driving simulators with a personal touch. Rigs are fully customizable with color options and utilize 80/20 US extruded aluminum. These rigs offer a wide range of adjustability, as well as different options for wheels, shifters, and keyboards. The possibilities are endless. If you can dream it, Track Time Entertainment can build it for you. RC2 Race Promotions is an iRacing event planning and coordination service. If you have an idea for a special one-off money race but don't have the time to handle all the legwork, RC2RP can help. We offer event conception, planning, day-to-day operations, and race event services to cover all of your needs. We are competitively priced and offer detailed services to make sure you get the most bang for your buck. To inquire, visit us on Facebook.
Amazon Recruiter too right now.
We are back. And it's looking like Dan Janjanen's waiting for the lights on the pace truck to turn off, get himself unlapped, and we're back racing. We're going to have Ryan Johnson dictate the start, and Dustin Shepard trying to do everything in his power to be able to get single file as quickly as he can. And these guys doing a fantastic job so far in this race, trying to keep it clean. And 2 cautions this far into the race. I'm happy as Ryan Johnson is off early, and that's going to give Jeff Bergener the opportunity to just go and hold Dustin Shepard down on that low line, as Ryan Johnson's going to be happy to watch these guys battle it out for a lap or 2, maybe 5 for them. But the person that wants this thing to get sorted as quickly as possible is Jared Apel in that 51, because he is making moves. He's up 12 positions so far, was not a victim of the invert, well, a beneficiary of the invert. But now he's starting to slow down ever so slightly. Gary Eschen looking to make up those places he lost on pit lane.
Yeah, right now on this, the top 6 got a great jump, and then from that point on back, there's probably a break. They're starting to slowly catch this field because they're still running 2x2, but there's about a about an 8-car gap, if not more, from this restart that they're trying to slowly make their way back up to. But these guys up front are doing a fantastic job. Jared Apel's up there right now. Top 3 are now single file. Bryan Hacker wants to make this outside lane work to get by him so he can be the 4th man in line.
I mean, he was the top qualifier, fastest man in practice. He definitely wants to get himself back up. Getting shuffled back to 13th is never what you want to see, but doing a good job fighting through the field as these 3 cars are just glued to one another. Jared Apel gets a little loose coming out of 2, and he's going to have to relinquish it, and these guys are going to go single file. But I definitely don't think the racing is over there. But let's take a look back here at this pack, to where right now this is the battle for 9th, as it's just going side by side. No one's giving an inch. Dante Curtis trying to work his way through, but he has Travis Hoefler and Gage Killam side by side in front of him. He's going to try to help the 83 get past, but I really don't think it's going to be that possible to really push somebody, especially in these cars that have that massively pointed nose.
I mean, but you're going to do your best. You're going to try it aerodynamically. You might try a little bit of a tap. You'll do whatever you can to try to get that little bit of more of an edge so you can hopefully get your lane moving here at Nashville Fairgrounds. But these guys are running side by side. Dante Curtis is doing his best to try and get it, but he has nowhere to go in front of him. When there's a guy in front of him kind of stuck there. Dante's trying his best to clear Travis, but he can only go so fast as what the car in front of him allows him.
And he drives deep into the corner looking to be able to get himself clear. He does. And now that battle is going side by side, but I got to get up here as it looks like Dustin Shepard is trying to get around the 21. He has the low line, but the 21 is going to have the speed. It looks he was going to try to use all 8 tires to turn there, as right now the 21 is giving him no extra room on that low line.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to kind of work the system here. You got to make sure the guy on the bottom edge cannot lean on him to get a little bit wider of an angle on exit. That allows you on the outside to get a larger run, as you see that Jeff was able to clear him there, and Dustin's going to fall in, trying to block the run from Bryan Hacker right now.
And he's going to be able to do that, especially considering if he can get himself clear, which it looks like he's not quite got the room. He does make the move stick, and it looked like Gary Eschen was right there waiting to see what happens here. But the 11 of Bryan Hacker, he is right on the bumper of the 89, backing off ever so slightly, but he can't back up too much because the 23 is waiting for any kind of an error or any kind of a lift.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. Short track racing, it's all about maintaining your speed, saving your equipment, and waiting for the guy in front of you to make a mistake. And he bobbles just a little bit, you drop your nose a little bit lower than him and come off the corner and try to make that pass. So this is what Gary Eschen, Bryan Hacker, Dustin Shepard, they're all trying to do right now.
And Ryan Johnson is looking like he's got just that ever so slight edge to where he's not getting pressured, because these guys right behind him are fighting it out. They're having to block. They're having to sacrifice their line ever so slightly. As right now we see Bryan Hacker look like he may have tried to get his nose down below the 89. Can't quite get the run necessary to do it, but they're stacking up. As let's jump on board with the Kelly's Custom Engraving roll bar camera. And there was a little bit of a slide there. And
yeah, Gary Eschen just got in the back bumper of Bryan Hacker just a little bit and had him sideways through the corner. He apologized over the radio on it.
As we were on board to get to see that little bit of a brown pants moment. But he's now setting his sights, trying to get himself back up there, as this front, the top 10 are all in a little bit of a breakaway pack. Dante Curtis at the back has a 1 second gap over Will Eastman, who, right as we cut to him, goes a little bit wide on corner entry, of course. The commentator's curse is real, people.
Yes, it is.
But this group, they have themselves about a 1 second gap, but more as Mike Alexander trying to get as many points as he possibly can to keep the pressure on Dante Curtis, but he's going to need to get in front of him to pull that one off. But this is more of the amazement. Ryan Johnson, he has opened up over a half a second lead over Jeff Bergener, and my guess is right now Jeff Bergener is probably he's kind of holding up this group a little bit right now.
Yeah, he could be, and like I think these guys are doing their best to try and get around them, but you don't want to punt them to get around them, and who knows? Jeff might be just saving his stuff up, and hopefully these guys will try to burn up their stuff to try and get around them, and then once he sees that they're starting to fall off, then it'll be Brucey's time to shine and start to drive through them. But as we are looking on board here, we see a great aerial view of this battle going on.
And we're focused on the 81 of Justin Rigsby, who seems to be running a slightly different line than everyone. He gets very close to the bumper of Jared Apel in front of him, and especially into turn 1, he gets up there and almost gives him the tip. That has been basically his entry to turn 1 every single lap, and now Dustin Shepard is looking to get himself down below the 21. This is what he needs to be doing right now. He needs to be making that move, because if he can't quite get around, we're just going to sit here and watch Ryan Johnson sail off into the sunset. And
Yeah,
now
I mean,
Bryan Hacker is throwing it down below Dustin Shepard, and they're going to go side by side coming out of turn 4. Looks like they may have almost had a little bit of contact there, but the 11 just making a run, trying to get himself up into that final podium position, and looking clean and nice and tidy on those exits.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit harder as the run goes on to make that bottom line work. As we're going to see if Dustin Shepard's going to make the outside line work on a longer run here. But Bryan Hacker might clear him coming off a 4. Looks like he does. And Gary Eshen looked like he tried to get his nose underneath Dustin Shepard, but couldn't.
And these guys, we're watching the laps tick down. We are on lap 77 of 117. So we've only got 40 laps left. And if we can manage to stay green here, these guys that have saved their tires, not really had to battle too much, they're going to be at a massive advantage, as, again, we're starting to see a little bit more side-by-side action going on here. This is in front of Dante Curtis. It's the 81 and the 51. These guys finally getting themselves side-by-side after we got to see Justin Rigsby just almost get into the back of Jared Apel quite a few times. Now trying to get around him, can't quite make it work. He backs off, and now that's going to put Dante Curtis on that outside line. Can't quite get it there, but up towards the front, we see Bryan Hacker trying to get himself up in front of the 21, coming out of turn 2. Can't quite do it and settles in right behind him.
I think Brian's going to use the front bumper there just a little bit. Got him a little sideways off the corner there. But looks like Jeff's able to use that middle to high lane to his advantage to get by him, as we've seen him hold off 2 good runs right now.
And Jared Apel has the 81 on his outside. Dante Curtis is trying to push him along and see if maybe he can add an extra position. Again, starting 23rd tonight, that is definitely not where you want to be, especially when you're trying to come and defend your title. This is the kind of night that just makes it a little bit rough.
Yeah, I mean, right now as we see very good tight racing from 2nd to 8th almost back there. These guys are just running rampant right now. Side by side, bumper to bumper. I mean, these guys are doing a fantastic job.
And doing everything they can, but Jeff Bergener and Bryan Hacker, I think that this battle, and now that they're coming up on lap traffic, this is going to get a little bit more interesting, because with Robbie Clavey right there in front of him, who's going to end up with the pick? And it's looking like it's probably going to be Bryan Hacker, and that's exactly what it is. And we're
Robbie did his best. He hit the wall like 3 times going down the front straightaway right there to kind of get out of their way, but definitely used him as a pick.
I mean, that's just short track racing. But now Jeff Bergener is under pressure from Dustin Shepard. And Dustin Shepard drops in behind, but Justin Rigsby on that outside line just not going away. But we do have Ryan Johnson from his back bumper. That lap traffic is just letting him just sail off into the sunset. It's night, I don't know. What's the best way to say that?
Well, we see a new player out here, Philip Martin. Philip Martin hasn't been around. He races when he can, and he's doing a fantastic job right now. He's running here in 7th place. He qualified pretty well tonight, and he's back up where he was at after the invert here, basically. He's just 1 position from that, but he's doing a fantastic job with these guys. It's been a while since we've seen him be able to race.
And he's trying to help the teammate of Dante Curtis get back up to the front, and now we have 3 of the DCD cars lined up. If this was a super speedway, I would be real excited to see that, but we're short track racing. I'm just kind of sad that we don't get a super speedway-ish races. Right now, Dante Curtis is trying to put the moves on Jeff Bergener, push his teammate along. Now Dustin Shepard is going to be clear. It's going to be, will Dante Curtis be able to take advantage? My guess is those Hoosiers on the 21 are cooked.
I mean, he did his best to try to stay out in front of everybody, running the middle lane, running the top lane, running the bottom lane. I mean, he did what he had to do, charged the corners. But like you said, his tires might be cooked from trying to stay out front.
And it's unfortunate when that kind of thing happens, but I mean, when we're getting these long runs and we are officially 25 laps to go in this race, we see Dante Curtis going down below his teammate. He's just going to swap places, and now it's time for that 03 to start tracking down Justin Rigsby, who's 3/4 of a second in front of him, as the 46 of Philip Martin looking to try to possibly put a move on his teammate, but falls back in line. We're seeing Dustin Shepard's running a little bit higher of an entry than everyone else, as the 21 is around and collects it and keeps that caution from coming out.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job of collecting it right there and saving it. But yeah, those Hoosiers, I think, might be a little fried, and if they weren't before that, they are now.
But these guys, single file and relatively bunched up when we get ourselves back here from 4th on. But Philip Martin, again, name we haven't really got to hear too much about. Looking like he's trying to put the moves on Dustin Shepard. I would assume that Dustin Shepard is in the same place that Jeff Bergener was. Those two, all the battles that they had between themselves, then Bryan Hacker have put a hurting on the Hoosiers and makes it a little more difficult for him to be able to fight back on that outside line.
Yeah, sometimes the outside line works. I mean, I think you have to play it right. You gotta have to squeeze that guy down like Dustin Shepard's trying to do right there, and make sure that the guy on the low side does not have a fantastic exit. And he's got to do what he can to do that. But Philip Martin, I mean, he's doing a fantastic job right now, and trying to hold these guys off. Jared April's right behind him, running side by side. These guys are running great hard racing all throughout tonight. So we see Bryan Hacker and Justin Rigsby up front here running side by side for second and third.
And you know what? Now is probably not the right time to be doing that, as we see Dante Curtis lurking in the background. Try to save those tires. I would not be banking on a caution at this point, to where the more they stay side by side, the better it's going to be for Dante Curtis to get himself.
There it is.
onto
There's that caution.
All
So don't be
because I
banking
did
on it.
Not give my desk a knock. That is my fault, everyone. So let's.
You literally just said caution.
I know. Let's see what happens here. Oh, the 14 just kind of tags the wall and comes down, hits the 83, and when a car stopped pointed like that, that is definitely going to be a caution. No way around that one. And oh, here's a surprise. The entire field is going to make their way into the pits, except for Dante Curtis.
Dante's gonna.
That
Is he trying to lead a lap and then go to the back? I mean, I don't know. Like I would have, or at least came in and got right sides.
You know what? I'm going to call it. That looks like what everybody else is doing, because there should be no fuel needed. I think that is realizing it's relatively difficult to pass on this track. I honestly, I'm not going to fault his decision here. He started at the back of this race. Still had a few extra positions that he needed to make up. Why not at least try to defend? And 15 laps to go right now. Everybody bunched up. Are we going to get another caution very quickly? And is he going to be the sole person with fresh tires?
Yeah, it looks like looking at all the pit lane times and or pit stop times. Looks like basically there's only one person. I think 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the whole entire field chose to do 4 tires there, and the earliest one will be Philip Martin.
And again, Philip Martin currently back into 10th. We had ourselves nearly 60 laps. I think it was, the math works out to 55. There's a reasonable chance that though having all 4 tires, especially with the field bunched up like this, he's going to be an advantage. Because while the left sides don't make as much of a difference in these cars, having 4 tires that are nice and fresh, it's going to help him.
But we got 13 laps to go, unless it's the caution breed cautions, and you get basically the best jump on every single one. It's going to be hard for them to try to drive back to the field and make those 4 tires work.
And that, honestly, I think the best thing it could be for those guys is a nice long run. I think that Dante Curtis is banking on the cautions, breeding cautions. As the lights on the pace truck are off, it is off, and now Dante Curtis is going to go ahead and lead us to green, as Ryan Johnson gets a little bit of the tip from Jared Apel as Dante Curtis goes, and we'll have to wait and see what happens here, because Dante Curtis chops off the nose of that 38, is going to keep him behind him, and caution is out. It looks, my guess is the field just being bunched up. Jeff Bergener goes into the corner. Oh, there's 3 wide. Philip Martin gets slapped by the 75, comes down into Jeff Bergener. That's
unfortunate right there.
That's what 3 wide on a restart will do.
I mean, just innocent bystander right there. Just get smacked, and you're the only one that gets spun out. The other people are 100%.
Well, on the bright side, there is race control. They will make their decision, and potentially somebody is going to end up at the back of the field. But the biggest thing, Dante Curtis, with his defense of Ryan Johnson, shuffles him back into third, and his teammate of Dustin Shepard now running in second. So these guys, again, I think we knew it was going to be a gamble by Dante Curtis, but especially when the field gets bunched up at the tail end of a race, we've got 10 laps to go, crossing the line for 9. I think the no stop was a great gamble for him, because now,
I mean, I don't know. Like right there, you had Dustin Shepard and Ryan Johnson all biting at the bit right there to get by him. I think he needs another quick yellow. I think another quick yellow has to come out, and I think he can do a green-white checker on him and be right there to be able to hold him off on that.
chances are we're going to be going green flag with 7 to go. Nope, it's going to be 6 to go. I think he will be perfectly capable of defending for 6 laps. Especially when you have a teammate there that I'm sure would like to win the race, but you also got to look for the greater good of the team occasionally, and it's not the worst move. Make it to where you have somebody that can help you defend. You coordinate your start, get it to where you can get the jump, both of you, the jump on Ryan Johnson. Because the next person that's really battling with Dante Curtis is Mike Alexander, who currently back in 9th.
Oh man, going to be interesting. We're going to have just a handful of laps left here and see what these guys can do.
And Dante Curtis jumps up to that outside line. That's going to make it to where his teammate, he puts the teammate in front of the person that's going to be battling with him. Smart move means he's going to be able to get completely clear. Ryan Johnson's going to be on that low line, which has not been the best on these restarts. And Dante Curtis is off, and Ryan Johnson is held up a little bit, but Dante Curtis is not going to be able to run the preferred line because his teammate is just going to go sailing right by him with those fresher outside tires. And now it's going to be damage mitigation as Ryan Johnson is not completely clear of Adam Gable or Jared Apel, who is on that outside line fighting for that final podium position. And that is what he's wanting to see, because Dante Curtis is not going to have too much of a battle, but Dustin Shepard in the lead of this race, that is what he wants to see.
Gary Eschen goes wide right there. He went in low and just faded all the way to the top. That left the door open for Justin Rigsby to slide underneath him right there. Now they're running side by side. Ryan Johnson clears them. Will be 3 to go here. So now Ryan Johnson sets sail and try and look to get by Dante Curtis. He's got 3 laps to do it.
And he looks to have that extra grip and have that extra speed. But I don't think he's going to have the laps to be able to actually make the pass. Dante Curtis is going to be doing everything he can to defend, as Ryan Johnson is basically adding a little bit more of a dent as he gets a low line. And it's going to be who has the most grip. Dante Curtis carries enough speed to be able to put him behind him, to where we are coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go. We have crossed it. No more cautions tonight. Ryan Johnson is running out of time, but Dustin Shepard, Ryan Johnson gets into the 03, gives him that little bit of a tap, but Dustin Shepard is gonna be just cruising on to the win. Dante Curtis looks like he's going to be able to barely hang on to it, but Dustin Shepard takes the win. But Dante Curtis and Ryan Johnson finish 0.05 of a second separated for second and third. But
they were working their tails off right there. Ryan Johnson gave him the bumper in the middle of 3 and 4 to try and upset the car, but Dante was able to still use that middle to high line to get off the corner and keep up the momentum and come home second.
All right, let's go ahead and run through the finishing order for the night. Dustin Shepard brings home the win. Dante Curtis in second. Ryan Johnson rounds out the podium. Gary Eschen in fourth. Justin Rigsby fifth. Jared Apel in sixth. Will Eastman seventh. Eighth is Bryan Hacker. Ninth, Adam Gable. Mike Alexander rounds out the top 10. Adam Boltemere in 11th. And 12th is Robbie Clavey.
13th is going to be Rodney Huntoon. 14th will be Jeff Mathis. 15th is Gage Killam. 16th is Dan Janjanin. 17th is B. Philip Martin. 18th will be Jeff Behringer. 19th will be Josh Nelms. 20th will be Jared Mogard. 21st will be Jesse Womack. 22nd is Travis Hoefler. 23rd will be Devin Rogers.
All right. It's time for us to go ahead, bring up our race winner for the night, Mr. Dustin Shepard. How does it feel to end up in the winner's circle tonight?
A relief. Finally coming. I said it's been like 30-something races and couldn't ever put one together since my last win.
Honestly, it was seeming like it was going to be coming all night. Running up towards the front, had a few good battles there, and it seemed like that last caution, or the second to last caution, was about as perfectly timed as you could have imagined, because it seemed like your tires may have been falling off a little.
Yes, on the longer runs, I was getting tight. I couldn't get the car to rotate. So, like, Hacker and Bergener, we had a good battle, good tight racing, and I said I got too tight and finally had kind of just let them have it and just try to ride and save face there. And, I was going to be, 6th or 7th, I guess, if we would have stayed green. And then the caution happened. And I was committed to pitting, and my teammates were kind of so-so. And then, Dante, he was the first one out there, and I was pitting, going to draw everybody else. Then people right in front of me were able to still pit. It kept Dante out there by himself. So he was kind of a sitting duck. So we had to play the strategy where the guy with the best, where one of the teammates was going to win at that point.
It worked out well, and honestly, it's always nice having teammates around you.
Yes, it is. Like I said, that helps out as far as racing people hard, however it goes for you to get away a little bit, So, yeah, having teammates with fuel strategies and trying to figure everything out really helps. Like I said, and of course, Dante, me, Phil, Devin, we always race well together. It's just Dante's got the horseshoe. He's always right spot, right time. Maybe I got a little piece of the horseshoe tonight for the win. So, since Phil usually works nights, so he's not here. It's good to have him back and be part of the team again.
You got you, man. You did a fantastic job, though. You're able to be up there most of the night, be where you need to be at the end of the race, and that's when it counts. Good pit strategy for you to get you right where you need, and it's always good to have teammates that will work with you. Like, hey, I'm going to go for it. You go for it. Whoever gets to the first spot will block, and we'll try to hold each other up and try to get at least one of us will make it to the finish line. So, and get to carry the trophy home for the night. So, good job for you guys working together on that one.
Appreciate it. The last thing you want to do is get to racing hard and then mess up and somebody go by both of you.
Yeah. But honestly, all the teammate talk, you had a strong run. You were up in the front all night. There is no reason to say you didn't. Honestly, you've deserved to have chatted with us first for a long time. Just glad it finally happened.
Yes. I said I've had a lot of good runs, and then I either mess up in the pits or do something stupid, and throw my top 3 away. She said so I was fast early in the run, so this little short run was right into my wheelhouse anyway. The longer runs, I'd kind of, tail off a little. So I said it worked. It worked in my favor all the way around tonight.
Just so you know, we ended up tying for the fewest cautions that this league has had at this track tonight.
We didn't have many. So yeah, it was overall good racing, good tight racing with everybody. I said we got a little heated a little bit on our chat, but I said competition and guys, what else is going to happen, right?
No, and we were excited to see Philip back for at least tonight.
He said he's on days for like a week, so might not see him for a while again. He's only got this week on days.
Oh man, I hate the varying schedules like that. I did shift works for a long time, and then it really messes with you having to swap back and forth, especially if you only get 1 week at on a day shift and you got to switch back.
That's rough on the body for sure.
Horrible.
Who cares about the body? It's your race time. That's what matters.
I mean, he might be racing during the daytime. I got like one of my teammates. He does night shift a lot, and he races more morning and day shift leagues.
So, yeah, there's always racing 24/7. That's what's good about it. Might not be the league you want to be in, but it's always out there.
No, but a great run from you tonight. A well-deserved win. Let's go ahead and send you back to your team to celebrate, even though I'm about to steal one of them.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, sir.
You too.
All right, and onwards to our second place finisher, who honestly had his work cut out for him today.
Oh yeah, that wasn't easy. This is probably one of the worst places we could get an EOL to start the race at. Early on, we just really weren't that good, or I was struggling. I just wasn't the best I could be, and really struggled getting through traffic there. And then between getting caught on the inside sometimes and freight trained, yeah, all in all, really tickled we come away with a second there.
Gotcha, man. But I mean, yeah, fantastic drive to go through there and do up a Hail Mary there at the end on the pit strategy. I don't know if you meant to stay out or hoping maybe you would drag a few more people so there'd be a little bit of buffer between you and the people who came in at pit road. But you were able to capitalize off of it. You didn't fall back, but only one spot. So good. I'd say it's a good pit strategy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd planned on like Dustin, his tires had fell off, and he was planning on pitting no matter what. And I mean, I was really looking at these guys like we had that yellow with around lap 100, so about 17 to go ish. And I'd pit earlier and took the extra time to take 4 tires, and everybody else in front of me took 2, and I still couldn't move through the field. So I just thought at that point maybe I could stay out, and I thought maybe some guys would stay out with me. And if that was the case, it could have been different. But somehow, some way, I guess everybody decided that they just wanted to play follow the leader, and that really hurt us. But in the end, it worked out good because thankfully Jared and Bryan were battling side by side. I looked up in the mirror, and I was wondering why they weren't catching me. And thankfully, they spent all those laps doing that, and kind of worked with Dustin there just to kind of let him through because I knew I wasn't. The last thing I wanted to do was block my teammate, and especially after that gamble, just best thing we could hope for was just him to win a race right there.
I mean, a good teammate would have just said, hey, you're battling for a championship. I'm going to hold them up.
Yeah, I mean, he's helped me out a lot before, and he hadn't won in a while, and this point still wasn't too big of a – it ain't too big of a deal. We still ended up finishing second right there, so really not much of a big points difference, just about 6 maybe. But really it was worth it just to get him the win. 33 races, I think they said, since he'd won since Road America. So really happy to see him back in victory lane.
Just so you know, I was joking there because, no, at that point, the exact statistic that you just said means if I have a teammate behind me and they haven't won in that long, they're going through. I don't care what it means.
Yeah, I mean, it really worked out perfect there. I planned on the first restart. We already had our plan worked out there. I kind of got clear of Ryan and slid up in front of him, and that allowed Dustin to kind of sweep on through. But he only got to second, thankfully. So that kind of, honestly, that second restart, just I was hoping for more cautions. So we had as little laps as possible because really just worked out good. The way the cautions fell there, we were able to hold on to our second spot.
No, it's exactly what you needed. Again, coming from the back of the field, getting a second place means that when we get to what you are best at next week it's the dirt track at Charlotte, you don't have to start at the back there.
Oh, dude, that's a good idea. Now I feel even I don't feel as bad for letting Dustin through now. So hopefully we can come through and we don't have to start at the back for that one. We'll probably get a decent invert, but that won't be no problem. Surely we'll be
You'll
fine.
get the pole. We'll do a 24. We'll pull a 24 next week.
That'd be fine. I think we could do it.
It'll be it. But see, Charlotte, the dirt track, actually, I would argue probably my favorite of the dirt tracks because it's nice and well banked and
it's wide. That's one thing we've got going for us if we do get inverted to the back, because the last couple of places we've been to is pretty narrow and on the gas a lot. So hopefully this place will widen out and put on some good racing there for give us some room to make some moves happen.
All right, a good second place from you. As usual, we know you have some shout-outs before we send you back to party with Dustin, who probably has a beverage in his hand.
I hope so. I'll probably join him. Just got to thank all the guys back at DCD Racing. It was good to see Phil back racing with us. Sucks he had a little mishap there. Jackman thought we were doing 4 tires during that last stop, but good to see him back racing. Good job to Dustin on the win. Devin.
User joined your channel.
Just got to thank Circuit World, American Racer South, Interstate Weldon, just a whole bunch of sponsors that have helped us out all year, and hopefully we can get them a win next week.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations, and chances are we're talking to you next week.
Yep, good chances. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Have a good one, sir.
Thank you.
User left your channel. Error.
All right. And it seems like this is becoming more of the tradition to where we get to you third.
Yeah, not happy about it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. I'll give you the bright side. You're chasing down Mike Alexander for second and had 7 positions between you. Trying to look at the bright side of things.
Yeah, but the one leading finished right ahead of me.
Yeah, and honestly, there's only so much that you can really do when you're not just battling him, you're battling his teammate.
I don't know. It's teammate stuff. Theirs worked together and ours didn't on that last restart. That just killed it.
Yeah, I unfortunately know a little bit about that one, but that's just because I'm an ass to my teammates sometimes.
But I mean, you did a fantastic job, and I know it's not what you wanted to be out there and had cruising to a huge lead there, and I know you definitely did not want to see that caution come out there at the end, and unfortunately it did. The trends came true. We got more cautions near the end, tied with the lowest amount of cautions though, and still overall good points night. Not what you hope for, but overall still pretty good. You're up here talking with us, which is always a good time.
Yeah, it was a good run. Every time I don't want to see a caution, it happens, and I knew it was coming. I didn't know when. It sucks. I'm so good on like the long run speed, and it kills. But yeah, like you said, I mean, there's only so much we can do. I mean, third, it's not bad, but it's disappointing when lead all those laps. You have that big of a lead, and it just damn cautions.
Yep. And then next week is the dirt track at Charlotte. So how do you feel about that one?
Never raced there, so not too good.
It is actually, compared to the other dirt tracks that we've seen over the course of 2022, it is going to be one that drives a little bit more like a standard track, to where it's wide, it's banked. Yeah, you're going to be kicking the back end out a little bit, but especially as it slicks up, you kind of end up running it a bit more like you normally would a street stock.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we're gonna need the practice Sunday for that one for sure. Otherwise, we're gonna be caught with our pants down on Monday, I bet. So, not gonna want that.
No, but it was a great run. We'll let you get back to. Apparently, Gary is out there telling you to cheer up, but I would give him a slap. But you know what? I don't know where he is.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'll get over it. It just sucks in the moment.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know. There's no cheering you up, but still a good third place finish. Ended up not quite the points night, but still a good one.
Yeah, move on to next week and these last couple races and see what happens. I mean, obviously you never know. Like, we've had a lot of surprises this season already, so we'll see what happens.
All right, congratulations, and maybe we'll chat with you next week, but we'll plan more on Concord.
Probably a safe idea.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Nice, guys. You too.
User disconnected from your
All
channel.
right, that is going to do it for us here at Ghostfire Media. Make sure, catch us next week. We're down in North Carolina, slinging dirt. It'll be a great race, whether people are excited about it or not. Honestly, every race that we've run at the dirt has surprised me with the level of quality, knowing that not everybody's a dirt racer. But it's still going to be a fun. We will be live at 9 p.m. with all of the action from the North-South Racing League. For Ghostfire Media, I'm Josh Laston. That's Adam Wood. Have yourselves a good evening.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.